Spoiler warning for Solo Leveling Season 1 and Solo Leveling Reawakening. So, Solo Leveling is my third favorite anime, so obviously I'm going to watch the new Solo Leveling Reawakening film. As of writing the script, I have tickets for opening day on Friday, December 6th, but by the time you're seeing this video, that day would have obviously passed. But I want to set some hopes and expectations for the movie for when it does come out. So that's going to be the first part of this video. And if you're only watching for the review, you could go to the timestamp that is on your screen now. Don't worry, I'll give you a little bit of time. That should be enough for everyone to skip. I have very high expectations for this movie, but let's go over some base facts and try to make some predictions. So I'm going to have two categories: hopes and expectations slash predictions. Let's go over hopes first, as those are the most based on very little context clues and are more inference focused. Since you see that the runtime of this movie is an hour and 46 minutes, with there being two episodes of season 2 and a recap, what I'm extremely hoping for is that the two episodes aren't just 20 minutes each and it's an hour long recap. I don't mind if it's like a 10-minute increase in one or both of them. I just don't want the first hour of the movie to be a recap. So we could sum down that hope too. I hope that the recap is just a bit shorter. Another hope being is that when we see Sun Jin Woo whilst adventuring, I would hope that he'll be able to gain some character development besides I have to be stronger within the two episodes. This is very hopeful thinking, but I believe they can do it. So that would be my second hope for this movie. Since 3 is a good number, let's go for another hope. I hope we learn more about the ant incident that we saw at the beginning of the series, and that the S ranks kept on talking about. We never really saw any proof of this happening, how they just left it off at the end of season 1. I feel it'd be kind of a waste if they just don't mention it for the next two episodes. So those are my three hopes that'll be on screen here. So now let's look at the expectations and predictions that are somewhat proven within the trailer, but I want to add a bit more to what we see. So my expectations and predictions for this movie are pretty simple, and I highly doubt that I won't get any right, as I'm basing these off of my theories. Let's set another three expectations to match the hopes, as I feel that works. First expectation: Sun Jin Woo will almost completely overhaul his Shadow Army. In the last episode of Season 1, he had gained this ability and he had gained one good soldier, but the rest I felt had been very fodder-like. But while we see him in the winter area we also see him gain some new soldiers. In this one scene, we could see him on a Bear Shadow guy. So I think he'll gain at least 6 or more soldiers that'll be added or changed in some way. New S ranks. In season 1, we didn't see many S ranks, but with the introduction of Huang Dong-soo in the trailer, I believe that we might see some more worldwide S ranks, which I'm really hoping for. I'll also count if we get more character development for our current S ranks that we see. Now, the third and final expectation for this movie is for it to be good. Since Solo Leveling is an insanely popular series these days and has some very big shoes to fill, but that doesn't mean that I don't think they won't be able to fill those shoes. So now that I have my hopes, expectations, and predictions for this movie, let's hope that they turn out to be right and nothing goes bad. So after watching the movie, I have a couple of thoughts. Before getting into what I got right and what I get wrong, let's talk about the general movie a bit. Overall, while yes, the recap was about an hour long, so we could tick that off from the hopes right away, it didn't really feel that long. It may have been that the scenes they picked out were actually important, but it didn't feel boring to have to rewatch the scenes. One thing I was very surprised by is when we saw the new episodes, we saw the swap in his uniforms. Usually we see him with the messy hair and a tracksuit, but this time we see him in an actual formal clothes and a decent haircut. This part caught me very off guard, but I guess it's the same way with the original transformation from weak to strong. They did a really good job of pacing with the new episodes, as always, and I really liked how we actually got to see the Shadow Army and how it works in combat. Since this is our first look, it was really fun watching it all unfold. There's also arised a couple questions in me about Igris as a Shadow Soldier. Jinwoo said to himself that if him and Igris had fought with swords, Igris would be stronger. So then I guess Igris wasn't hell-bent on winning in his fight as he dropped his sword and went with hands. I don't really know and don't care, but before we talk more about the review, Let's go over what I got right and wrong to make it easier for me. So let's start with the hopes. Yeah, I can't lie here, I was basically 0 for 3. The recap was an hour long, but that actually wasn't a bad thing. It did a semi-decent job of catching the viewer up on the story, only really missing some parts about his family in the first episode, but whatever, small complaints. Jinwoo, whilst yes he did have some character change on protecting this girl here, it was 95% I want to get stronger, which I'm fine with, and hey, that's why I watched this movie. I didn't expect anything different, but that doesn't mean that I didn't hope for anything new. For the ant thing, all that was said was that the guy here talked to the leader of the association, and now they have wings. That's it. So yeah, my hopes weren't all that good, but hey, hopefully we learn more about that in season 2. Expectations, I kind of nailed on the head here in contrast to hopes. Basically getting 3 for 3. We see him overhaul his army with bears and this guy, Kim Chol, more on that later. But I counted more than 6. He had 4 bears, the big bear, and iron. So I'd argue that I'm right here. We see more interactions with S-rank hunters, showing how they don't really get along, but also just a quick little show of how strong they are. And when we were talking about how good the movie was, well, yes, the recap in there, the second season had me really excited. So yeah, like I said before, I went 3 for 3 here, but now let's get into a very spoiler-heavy recap. So I'm not going to talk about the recap, as that's whatever. If I were going to talk about it, I'll just make a video on Solo Leveling Season 1, but you can just watch it for yourself. But I want to talk about the 2 episodes, or what I found out was also called the Red Gate arc. Very on the nose, I know. Basically, Jinwoo wants to get his sister's classmate out of being a hunter, so they decide to view a C-rank raid, only for it to be a Red Gate. Well, what's a Red Gate, you ask? Basically, they can't leave it, it's more difficult, and 1 hour in the real world is equal to a day in the dungeon. So they get ice elves, and they're kinda jerks, so the party splits into 2 groups. They basically just want the lower ranks dead, to be honest. So whatever. So Jinwoo then pulls out all the stocks and go crazy with his soldiers, and ends up killing the party leader, Kim Chol, and turning him into a soldier. His name is now Iron, and he looks cool. That's all you get in terms of spoilers. It's not that I care about how much I'm actually spoiling, but it's more that I want you to watch it for yourself, and if I tell you the entire plot, then what's the point in that? But you're probably wondering why you should watch it, because I've only said it's good things, but don't have any evidence, so you'd be right, so let's change that. Solo Leveling has always had insane animation, and this season only backs up my belief of this. The animations and fight choreography was better than almost all of Season 1. I would say it was on par, if not better, than the Jinwoo Igris fight. We get a look at some new characters and a little teaser for the fact that Jinwoo might not be able to hide his power forever, but that's for a later video. Also, Solo Leveling isn't really a humor show, but there was one scene that actually caught me off guard and made me laugh a little bit. And the charm of this movie was unlike any other I've ever seen. There's really only one more thing I could say about it, is that in Season 1, Sun Jinwoo was always trying to get stronger and fighting stronger enemies. But now with his Shadow Army, while yes his enemy was a lot stronger than he was, it looked insanely more easy compared to last season. This has me really excited for Season 2, and you could bet that I'll be making a video on that before it comes out. And even after it comes out, and maybe another one along the way. In other words, you could expect more Solo Leveling content, even if you don't want it. I would highly recommend watching the movie and Season 1, but you don't have to watch Season 1 to watch the movie, you could watch it afterwards. But that's really all I had to say in this video. Make sure you like and subscribe if you also like Solo Leveling, or if you want to just stick around and see my other videos, and leave a comment as well with your thoughts and opinions, and I'll see you in the next one.